And so how do we embolden them to not only understand the technologies that are out there, but to build things? I think the conversation no one's having with young people is that not all the real estate's taken up. You don't have to spend your day on YouTube and Instagram. You can build things. What would be cool? Now, it's a harder conversation, but it forces them to think about a critical element of mental health and fitness, which is what will be a job in 10 years? That's the question that no one's asking young people. So we have a generation of young people going into school, going $350,000 in debt for something that a free app will do by the time that they graduate. What then is the skill set that will help carry them through that maze of saying, okay, I've made these choices and I don't feel like I'm actually have an accessible entry point to any part of the economy right now. Well, don't forget that you can build things. You can build brands like you talked about. You can build anything technological that doesn't exist yet. You can also build relationships and collaborate with others who are making a net impact on the future that's positive. So I think one of the things about teaching kids sort of digital autonomy is it reminds them that you're not only subject to the world as it is. You can build things there. And then you see the desire for that. I love the creative economy. It's clear that we have a desire. In fact, in our mental fitness sort of principles and categories, creativity is right up there. We seem to have a desire to want to create. Well, that's a beautiful thing. One of our board members, Ian Ramsey, who works with high school students, he asks them all the time, what can you do that a machine can't do? And will that be true next year? Will that be true in 5 years? And will that be true in 10 years? And that gives you a chance to understand whether they understand how to think in exponentials. Right? Exponential technology it doubles exponentially. Imagine the world in 10 years. If you think we'll be sitting here on Zoom with an iPhone in our hand, so we're not thinking in exponentials. So the beautiful question that comes back to this mental fitness skill set is, what is it that makes me uniquely human? And when you're asking young people that, there's a beautiful opportunity. Because I remember, even growing up, people would say kind of, what do you want to be when you grew up, as if there were like 40 different options and you went and picked one out of a hat. But the reality for most of these young people is that what they do in their lives probably hasn't even been invented yet. So they have no idea. It's not even there. But they can work on the self-development skills that prepare them to thrive when they get there. Because those hats with careers in them, they're getting dumped all over the place in terms of relevancy and what is being obsoleted by technology. So ask a 15-year-old what they want to do when they're 30. You'd be lying if you said that you knew what options would be on the table. But you can develop a certain set of characteristics and skills that allow you to thrive when you get there. And that's the goal of our mental fitness curriculum, is actually helping them build those universal human skills to thrive in a brand new environment, regardless of what it looks like. They're going to have to bring their best selves to it, and they're going to have to retain those basic human skills to thrive in the unpredictable, the unknown.
Yeah, and I think I would add to that is the importance of helping our kids understand that you don't have to prepare for a future where you think you're only going to have one career, where you think you're only going to do this one thing for the rest of your life. I think that, I know my son, my wife's probably on her third or fourth career at this point, as am I. And I think that's just the way the world works at this point, where it's not even realistic anymore to think, or even if you have a single career, the idea that you'll work for the same company for 30, 40, 50 years and then retire with a gold watch, those days are over.
Right.
That's not going to happen. And I think that the ability to pivot, the ability to learn, right? The ability to learn, the ability to take action, the ability to mitigate stress, those are skills that will serve you for the rest of your life. That's your long-term investment, is those tools, so that no matter what happens, and I think we've seen an extremely good example of that right now because of the pandemic, where so many businesses were forced to pivot. And we saw that the entrepreneur, the person who had that skill set, that ability to slow things down, make sense of a crisis, and then pivot in a different direction, succeeded. And the ones that were so entrenched in this one way of doing things failed. And I think that we need to teach kids now to be prepared for the next crisis, for the next pandemic, for the next environmental disaster, for the next. And again, I come back to this live ready concept, which ultimately is that. It's not, being super paranoid and assuming it's all doom and gloom and that the world is fucked. It's instead, hey, things are going to happen regardless of you that are out of your control. But let's make sure that you have the tools that you need to learn how to slow things down, focus your mind, and know that, hey, if I just think this through and if I have that skill set, I know that I can figure out a way to make something positive happen.